Failure is not final. Failure is simply an opportunity to learn and grow because we are humans and that is how it works. Welcome to Addicted to Quitting, the podcast where we dive deep into the art of breaking free from bad habits by becoming addicted to quitting the habits that are no longer serving us. I am Gentry. I'm a divorced mom of 4 boys, certified public accountant, and a certified life and recovery coach, living a sober lifestyle since May 1st of 2018. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about failure not being final and how we can start to change our mindset so that we can see failure as more of an opportunity to grow versus getting really discouraged and wanting to quit. Join me today as we explore the power of becoming addicted to quitting and unlocking your true potential. This is Addicted to Quitting, the podcast that empowers you to break free, embrace change, and thrive. Let's get started on this transformative journey together. Welcome back to another episode of Addicted to Quitting, where we are talking about quitting the habits that are no longer serving us so that we can elevate your life. And I'm excited to talk about today's topic because, one, I have a personal story that I'm going to share at the end of this about failure, but I think it's so important to understand that failure is not final. So how do we overcome this mindset that failure is final? So what we have to do is, number one, we have to have this growth mindset, right? So if you are having a fixed mindset, you are unable to see past a stop sign. You are unable to see past the obstacle. You're unable to see past the failure. Instead, you self-destruct. You feel bad. You feel sorry for yourself. You feel this weight of failure. When you have a growth mindset, you see failure as an opportunity to learn. You see failure as not a stop sign, but maybe a yield sign, maybe a reroute, maybe an opportunity to reflect. And if you aren't pushing yourself to have a growth mindset, you are always going to see failure as a final destination, right? So you have to push yourself to have that growth mindset. How can I see this as an opportunity to learn? Where do I need to get better? Where do I need to improve? How do I get through this? I have had so many failures in my life. Like, I have so many times I thought, like, this failure is going to break me. This failure is going to be the end of me. And it wasn't, right? Like, and the same thing with you. How many times have you failed in your life? How many times have you felt the pain of failure? Maybe you failed at trying to get sober and you're trying to get sober right now and you're just keep failing at trying, and the pain of that, right? Maybe you've had a failed relationship. Maybe that relationship was a marriage, a failed marriage. Like, you just felt like so heavy. You felt so down. You felt so out. Are you still here? Are you still living? Maybe you failed and lost a job. Maybe you lost a business. Maybe you lost a house. Maybe you've had some really negative consequences and failures in your life. And guess what? They were hard and they were painful, and you kept going because you're here today, right? If you're listening to this today, you have been through things that were hard and you are still here. Why? Why are you still here? Because you are able to get through that pain. You are able to get through those failures, and you are able to get through whatever obstacles you are facing right now. But you got to have that growth mindset, right? Like, you wouldn't have clicked on failure is not final if you didn't believe in that in a tiny, tiny bit, right? Like, you are here listening to this because you know that you can push yourself to overcome whatever obstacle that you have. You just need me to kind of help maybe motivate you to keep going in that direction. How do we motivate you to keep going in that direction? You got to change your mindset. If you are feeling like failure is final, you are in a fixed mindset. You are sticking to this like thought that this is a stop sign, that this is hard, and you are forgetting who the F you are. Because you have been through failures before. You have been through hard times before. You have been through pain before, and you are still here today. You still have the breath in your lungs. You still have the ability in your fingers to push play on this today, right? You are here today because you have pushed through failure in the past. You have pushed through pain in the past. And now we just have to continue to motivate you in that growth mindset. All right. This is another failure. This is another setback, right? Failure is not final. It is just a setback. It is just an opportunity. Failure is an opportunity to grow and learn. If you have failed at something or you didn't quite hit the mark on something, guess what? Now you get to go back, figure out what you did wrong, where you need to improve, and how you can keep going so that you can live up to your full potential, so that you can live your dream life, so that you can accomplish the things that you know you're capable of accomplishing. But if you have a fixed mindset when it comes to failure, guess what? You're never going to get there. You're never going to get there. I love you so much and I don't want that to ever happen to you, but I got to be honest with you. If you are quitting because of a failure, you are letting yourself down. You're letting the people around you down by doing that. They deserve more from you. They deserve you to have some grit right now and say, like, I failed. I failed at doing what I said I was going to do, but here's what I'm going to do to come back from this. Here's what I'm going to do to push myself to keep going. I failed this marriage. I failed it. What am I going to do now? Am I going to sit and wallow and feel sorry for myself? Am I going to sit and cry and be, which crying's fine. I'm not saying we don't cry. We're allowed to cry, right? But am I going to sit and like sink into this, or am I going to push myself to get up and keep going and figure it out? What did I do to fail? Where do I need to get better? How do I need to get stronger? How could I be a better partner? I don't care how bad your ex was. You played a role in that, right? And that's the next thing that I want to talk about, is focusing on your journey in all of this. Focusing on your journey, not just the outcome, right? Like, you got to a place of failure, and this is your journey. It doesn't matter who did what to you, how they did it, what other people's roles are. This is your journey. It is your responsibility to figure out what you're going to do from here. I know that there are really unhealthy relationships out there, and I know that sometimes people do some really nasty things in relationships. Maybe you got cheated on, maybe they lied to you, maybe they drove you into the ground financially, maybe they just weren't like there. You just never felt like you had a partner. You can only control yourself and your journey. So if you are finding yourself in failure and other people, you feel like other people have contributed to that, it is irrelevant. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you've had to go through some of these hard things. I get that, but this is your journey. This is your responsibility to get through this. And like I said, you've been through failures in the past, right? Like, I've failed classes, I've failed marriages, I've failed at quitting drinking, I've failed at jobs, I've gotten fired. I have failed over and over and over. And every single time that I fail, it's an opportunity to learn and get better and grow stronger. And that's exactly where you're at, right? You have failed in your life. You clicked on this today because you wanted to be reminded that failure is not final. You have failed in your life and you are still here today. Why? Because you have that grit, you have that confidence, you have what it takes to get through this. And I believe in you. So quit whining, quit blaming other people, quit focusing on other people's journey. This is your journey. This is your responsibility to get out of this failure. This is your responsibility. Like, it's not just about the outcome, it's about the journey, right? Like, we didn't get the outcome we wanted, but now we're on this journey. How are we going to reroute? How are we going to slow down? How are we going to adjust or shift, or what do we need to learn so that we can keep going on this journey? And with a growth mindset and really focusing on this being your journey, not somebody else's journey, not somebody else's responsibility, you're not here because of X, Y, and Z if somebody else did to you. I don't care what they did to you. You are here now because this is where you're at. What are you going to do to get out of it? Take back control. Take back the ownership of that. This is your life. This is your life that you get to live. Own it. Own it and push yourself to get past this failure. Failure is not final. The last thing that I want to say is compassion, compassion, compassion. You have to give yourself grace on a journey like this. Failure is not final. It's an opportunity to grow. But guess what? There's no growth in grace, right? So we have to be able to give ourselves grace in this journey, but then we have to be willing to get back up and keep going. Give yourself compassion. Give yourself grace that you are human. You are here because you are a human. Congratulations. You're not a robot. You're not AI. This is a good thing, right? Like, how scary would it be if you were a robot, if you were AI, if you were perfect? Holy Hannah. Have you guys ever tried to hang out with somebody that is perfect? It is exhausting. It is exhausting. I don't want you to be perfect. I want you to be a human. I want you to own your humanness. And in that humanness, that's where we give ourselves compassion, self-compassion. We face our failures. We're kind to ourselves that we're here. We're kind to our the decisions that we made that got us here, right? We're kind to ourselves about that. We say, you know what? I was a human in that moment, and humans are not perfect, and humans make mistakes. And in that, I created myself to fail in this situation. I'm going to give myself compassion. I'm going to give myself grace. Grace is a pause. Grace is just a pause, though. Grace is a way to be like, man, I'm going to reset. I'm going to love myself for a minute. I'm going to say that this is hard. I'm going to own it. I'm going to honor it. But then if you really want to grow, we got to push past that, right? Self-compassion is a pause. Grace is a pause, but we're not going to grow if we're constantly in self-compassion and grace. We have to be willing to say like, okay, I've felt the feelings. Now I'm going to heal. Now I'm going to grow. We got to feel, heal, grow. Feel, heal, grow. Feel the feelings. In the feeling, they're like, man, this is overwhelming. This is hard. This is stressful. That's where you're giving yourself grace. That's where you're giving yourself self-compassion. Like, man, I made some poor decisions that led me to a place that I don't want to be in. Cool. We felt it. Now we're going to start healing. Now we got to start growing. We got to have a growth mindset. We got to first practice that self-compassion, grace, self-compassion, grace. We got to feel. Then we got to heal. How do we heal? We focus on our journey. We focus on what we need to do to get to a better place. We need to focus on what we need to do to get stronger and more confident. And then we get in our growth. We get in that growth mindset. Okay, cool. I felt it. I healed. I learned. I pushed myself to learn. I got in that learning zone. I was like, this, I felt it. Ooh, I figured out like I want to feel this. I want to own this. I want to honor this. I'm going to pause and own this, honor this. And then I'm going to quickly move into that learning phase. How can I get better? How can I be stronger? How can I heal from this? And then I'm going to push myself to grow. And I'm going to grow and grow and grow until I fail again. Because we're going to fail again. And it's just another opportunity to be like, I'm going to feel, I'm going to heal, and then I'm going to grow again. I'm going to feel, I'm going to heal, and then I'm going to grow again. You are capable of accomplishing so many things, but you have to be willing to push yourself to grow past failure. Failure is not final. Failure is an opportunity to grow and get stronger. You might be failing at something right now. You might feel like you're failing in your relationships. You might feel like you're failing at your job. You might feel like you're failing with your kids. Maybe you're not being as intentional as you want to be. Cool. Feel that. Own it. Own it. If that's what's happening, own it. Yeah, I feel this. I really feel this, and I'm going to own it. I'm going to be honest about it. I'm going to give myself grace that I've been trying to do my best, and my best just hasn't quite been what it needs to be. Okay, feel it. Now we're going to heal it. What do we need to learn? What do we learn from that past mistake? What do we learn from our past behaviors? How can we get stronger? We're going to heal these things. We're going to work on healing them so that we can implement new strategies, new ways, new paths. We're not going to take things as a stop sign. We're not going to feel and be like, oh, I'm just going to sit here and wallow in this over and over and over. That is how depression happens. When we sit there and we want to replay all these decisions that we made over and over and over. I definitely relate to this, but I'm definitely telling you guys it doesn't help. It does not help. If you truly want to level up in life, if you truly want to live up to your full potential, if you truly want to chase your dreams and goals and just have the life that you deserve, you have to be willing to feel and own up when you are get off track. Own up when you've made some bad choices. Own up when you're not doing what you need to be doing, right? You got to own that. We got to feel that. We got to heal that, and then we got to go. So we're going to practice self-compassion. We're going to focus on our own journey, not how other people are affecting our journey. We're not going to try and deflect on what's going on because so and so did this to me, or because this obstacle or this is wrong. Like, I have this going on, all these excuses. This is so much harder for me than it is for you. Okay, cool. That doesn't change the fact that you're in this situation, right? You failed because of whatever reason, but the fact is that you are here because you failed at something, and now you got to learn from it, and now you got to keep going. And like I said, you have failed before. You have failed before, right? This isn't the first time you failed in your life. You're going to be able to get back up. You're going to be able to keep going. I believe in you. I believe in you. But do you believe in you? Because if you believe in you, you will feel, and then you will heal and learn, and then you will get back up and keep going. Failure is not final. And I told you guys that I had a personal story I wanted to share about failure not being final and how I've experienced a lot of pain from failure, right? So I have experienced a divorce, and I had to really look at that divorce and own my part of it and own the things that I was doing wrong, the passive aggressiveness that I was having, the poor me pity party I was having, the unhealthy martyr behavior, the trauma that I was bringing in from my childhood into this relationship. Like, there was a ton of things that I was not doing right in this relationship, and it led to a divorce, and I had to own that. And in owning that and feeling that and really like letting myself feel that and like open up the pain a little bit more than just like, I'm going to feel this pain, but I'm going to avoid this pain. And I'm just going to keep feeling this pain because I actually don't want to dive deep into this pain. I just want to feel the pain, but I don't understand the pain. I don't want to like do anything about the pain. Right. So like so many times people in their avoiding the pain causes so much more freaking pain in their life, and then just causes them to create the same patterns and habits down the road, because instead of actually opening the door and saying like, peekaboo, Jack in the Box, what's inside? What do I need to look at here? They're like, I know I need to look at stuff, but I don't want to because it's painful. So I'm just going to keep holding on to the pain and living my life. It makes no sense, you guys. I'm just telling you guys, open the box. Like twist the Jack in the Box, let it pop open, and then let's look at this stuff. Let's feel it, right? Let's really feel it and dig deep in here. So I started going to counseling a couple years after the divorce. And that's where I really started to make shifts in my mindset and my personal development when it came to relationships. I was like, man, I really effed up sometimes in this relationship. I really hurt this person. And I had to feel that stuff and I had to own that stuff. And I had to acknowledge that and be self-aware about that before I could step into the healing and learning stage, right? Like I had to really look at what I needed to fix before I could fix it. And so many of us are afraid to, like, the failure is painful enough. We think that if we open the box to actually look at why we failed, it's going to cause more pain, which it might. It might. Like growth and healing can be more painful at first than it is in the moment, right? But it's going to be more painful for a short period of time, and then it's going to get better. If you look at the growth curve and you look at the learning curve and you look at the change curve, right? Like it typically gets worse before it gets better. So yeah, like you might be feeling pain, but for you to be able to actually activate like healing that, you might get more painful. It might be a little bit harder at first, and then we can heal and grow from that though. So don't be afraid to get a little bit deeper in that pain, to really look underneath what's going on. It's like putting a Band-Aid over a really bad cut, right? Like that cut is infected. The Band-Aid's not going to do anything about it. You're just going to keep feeling that pain. You just can't see it because you're putting a big old Band-Aid over it. Stop putting a Band-Aid over your pain. Stop putting a Band-Aid over the pain of the failures that you've had, and let's open them up. Let's say, hey, what do we need to do to heal this? How can we heal this from the bottom up? How can we get better? It's going to be painful. You might have to dig out some of that infection, right? We might have to push ourselves to be uncomfortable. But if you can do that, and I had to do that with my relationships and my failed relationships and how I was causing so much of the drama, and I was toxic myself, and I was like, oh my gosh, I look back and I'm like, man, I was psychotic at times. Guess what? That's the facts. That's the real reality of it. That's how I had to feel that. I had to own that. I had to acknowledge that. And then I can start working on why I was doing that. Why was I getting there? What was happening? What was I feeling? What was the reasons I was resorting to that? And then how can I create better coping mechanisms? How can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How can I have better relationships in the future? And I have pushed myself to open up these wounds with my relationships and get more uncomfortable, get more painful, really have to like feel all these things, and then I can start healing these things. And now I'm in a much more stable place when it comes to all relationships. I'm more stable with my kids. I'm more stable with my friendships. I'm more stable in my relationship now. And it's because we have to be willing to open up our failures and to dissect them and be willing to be like, man, this sucks. I failed. It hurts. I'm going to look at why I failed. I'm going to look at the deeper reason. I'm going to look at this cut, and I'm going to figure out what I can do to heal it so that I can learn and grow from this experience. Don't be afraid to feel your feelings, even if it gets a little bit more painful at first, because that is when you're going to start to be able to see what's going on, heal what's going on, and grow from there. This is what I had to do with my past marriage, and learn that I really wasn't the best partner. I really wasn't the best partner. And how can I be a better partner to the next person, to my future husband, right? Like how can I become better so that I don't fall back into these same mindsets, these same behaviors, right? And we have to be able to have that growth mindset, focus on our own journey, and practice that self-compassion. I had to have compassion with myself and say like, okay, you know what? I was human. I did these things. Let's open them up. Let's give ourselves grace for what we find. And then I'm going to focus on my own journey. It didn't matter what he said or she said or how they said it or who thinks what of me. It doesn't matter. I'm going to focus on my own journey. I'm going to focus on my own failures and my responsibility to get out of this place. And then I'm going to learn how to grow from here. I'm going to push myself to grow from here. And by doing that, I have found a much more suitable partner for me because I got myself into a healthy healthy place. Him and I do couples counseling together since the day we started dating. Like we we're like, both of us like don't want to fall into these same bad habits and same bad patterns. So we have said like we're gonna go every single month or every 3 weeks depending on the month, but we're gonna so me and my partner have decided that we're going to go and keep working on these things. We're going to keep healing on our past traumas. We're going to keep healing the poor coping mechanisms that we have so that we can have that growth mindset and become the best versions of ourselves separately so that we can become the best version of ourselves in this relationship. We can have the best relationship possible. We got to practice a growth mindset. We got to practice focusing on our own journey, and we got to practice that self-compassion and that grace. But remember, growth doesn't happen in grace. Grace is just the starting point. This is where we say, I am human. I screwed up. I have failed. Okay, I'm going to not beat myself up for that. I'm just going to open the box and figure out what I need to do to feel these feelings, to figure out exactly what's going on so I can start the healing process, so I can start learning, so I can start growing. I believe in you. I believe that you can overcome this failure and grow bigger and stronger than you ever imagined. But you have to believe in yourself and you have to be willing to feel, heal, and grow. You have to remember who the F you are, that you have failed before. You have failed before and it hurt and you got through that hurt. You got past that pain. So have faith that this failure today is not final. It is just another stepping stone in your life. And how big of a stepping stone it is and where that direction of that stepping stone is determined on how you are going to respond to this failure. Are you going to let this be a stepping stone down into a darker hole of depression? Or are you going to use this stepping stone to be like, I'm going to keep climbing. I'm going to heal. I'm going to feel. I'm going to heal. And then I'm going to grow. If you got anything out of this podcast today, please do me a huge favor. Take a screenshot of it, post it to your Instagram, post it to your Facebook, post it to your LinkedIn, post it wherever you post content. Tag Life with Gentry, link the podcast, link the YouTube, whatever you're watching this on. But if you got something out of it, please share. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for being here as we wrap up another episode of Addicted to Quitting. Remember that each step you take towards quitting a bad habit is a step closer to the life that you deserve. Make sure that you share this with somebody that might need to hear this message today. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Addicted to Quitting, where we level up by becoming addicted to the benefits of quitting habits that no longer serve us. Much love to you guys. You're my favorite quitters. This is Gentry signing off. Keep going and keep quitting those bad habits.